according to Epilepsy SA, epilepsy affects 1 out of 100 people in South Africa, which translates into about 500,000 people and makes it one of the most common neurological diseases. Despite this, the condition is often surrounded by prejudice and myth, especially in rural communities, where people with this condition are often shunned and thought to be possessed. It is for this reason that Epilepsy SA, the GladAfrica Foundation and the University of Venda have entered into a partnership with the aim of investigating the level of affectedness of the identified communities, their needs, and to develop necessary intervention programs. So joining us in studio, we've got Noel Mashaba, who is the Co-Chairperson of GladAfrica Foundation, and he's here to tell us a bit more about it. Noel, thanks for coming in. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So this new initiative to raise awareness around epilepsy, tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah. So basically the initiative is to assess the prevalence of epilepsy within the rural communities and to come up with mitigating factors or to come up with suggested solutions into those affected families or affected people with epilepsy.
How bad is it in rural areas?
Look, I'm epileptic myself. I was affected by epilepsy. I've got quite an experience with how bad it is. And when I remember myself, I lived believing 100% that I will never ever be able to make it in life because of epilepsy. So that's how bad it is. And at the time where I had an opportunity to have a doctor, go to a medical doctor and get information, it helped significantly for me, my understanding of I'm sick, there's nothing wrong with me. So it's quite bad within the community. And I think what the study is intending to do is to try and expose how prevalent it is within those rural communities and come up with those facts, and in hope that we can use those facts to raise money, we can use those facts to be able to support or to create a more support center or support epilepsy in South Africa.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite sad, and we sit here. I mean, in fact, today there's a memorial service being held for a young schoolboy who actually had an epileptic fit at a school here in Gauteng. We're not even talking a rural area, and fell to his death during a seizure. I mean, these are the realities of what people with epilepsy go through, and perhaps from what I'm gathering is that there isn't enough education around it.
There's definitely not enough education, and that's the whole intention of this study. We can do with more information. However information we can get, we can do with more information. We don't have to wait another pupil fell into the same situation as what has happened in Venda High School. So what we need to do is to gather information and support Epilepsy South Africa and raise funding for us to have more centers for the parents, to support the parents that their children are suffering from epilepsy. One of the things that people are not aware of is how difficult it is for the parents, for the actual parents that are suffering with epilepsy. I recall one time when I had a seizure, I couldn't even go to my dad anymore because he himself needed support. He himself, it was a burden on him. So people are not aware how difficult it is for the parents. So we need support systems that have been put in place to support, to alleviate the stigmatism that comes with epilepsy, for people to know that I am sick, there is nothing wrong with me, I can be treated and I can live a normal life. And more importantly, support the parents to be able to support their children.
I mean, is there enough support though? Because when you're living in the outlying rural areas, it's hard enough to get to a medical facility or to actually go and get seen and diagnosed, to be seen, what is wrong with you. And a lot of people, like you say, live with a stigma of, this child or this person or this adult is possessed. We don't know what's wrong with them. So, I mean, that's where the majority of our population live. How do we get around this?
And that's the biggest problem that we're having. When I recall in myself, I wasn't diagnosed. I just knew that something is wrong with me with something, and I didn't know what it is. And what also pains me, a lot of times when people have got these seizures, they go and they simply just give an epilim, and then if they have more seizures, they give a double epilim. I can give an example with my case. In my case, I never had fits or I never had seizures while I was awake. It only happened while I was sleeping, which is much more different from a lot of people. I know a mother that said, no, I cannot take my child for swimming because I'm afraid that my child is going to have seizures while swimming. I know a parent that spoke to me, and the parent said to me that she has to leave her job to support her child. All of these people need support. All of these people need information. How do we deal with it? People can live a normal life with epilepsy, and the stigmatism that surrounds epilepsy is really not warranted, and that's because we don't have sufficient information. We're hoping that the study will unearth information. We're hoping the study will go to those rural communities and tell us exactly what is happening, and we'll use that information to be able to raise more funding to support Epilepsy South Africa.
Yeah.
And that's the hope that after 4 years of doing this study, that's what we will be able to do.
Well, just finally, I mean, I see now that this is happening in Limpopo and Mpumalanga,
Yes.
this particular start of the
Yes,
study.
yes.
It's great, but it could be obviously the entire country. But is that the aim, to sort of
Yes.
start off in these areas? Because you have got the partnership with the University of Venda,
Yes.
and then try and make it a nationwide study.
Yeah. So basically what's happening is we had to have a location to do the study. We had to have a program to do the study. We had to enter in some form of agreements. We have to have costing of the study. Because of that, we had to have specific centers that we have to do it. We had to have a recognized institution to do it. So what the University of Venda have done, have put together a program. This is a 4-year program to conduct this study. So the study is going to be staged in Mpumalanga and Limpopo. I need to emphasize, it's not a study for Limpopo and Mpumalanga. It's a study for the entire country. It's just that the base will be in Mpumalanga and in Limpopo.
Excellent. Well, no, we thank you for this, because I think that this is long overdue and something that's an important issue. Epilepsy SA, it's something that can be controlled. It's something that certainly should not have a stigma on. And I think you're living proof of it, that, you know, you can live a very normal life being epileptic.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. For anyone else that would like to participate, for mothers or parents that have experienced this, there's an email address where they can email their stories, or if they want to participate in any form, it's epilepsyresearch@GladAfricaFoundation.com, epilepsyresearch@GladAfricaFoundation.com. They can email all the information. We'll contact them, we'll coordinate it, the university will put it together for us to have a positive outcome.
Excellent.
Thank you.
We'll get those details from you, put them up, but from what I wrote, epilepsyresearch@GladAfrica.com.
Epilepsyresearch@GladAfricaFoundation.
At GladAfrica Foundation.
Foundation.com, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. We'll get that, put it up on screen, and if you need any advice, like to participate, this is how you go about it. Thanks again, Noel.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for
having
joining
me.
us. All right, we know we're late with the news, but important information that we needed to get to you. Let's get into that news bulletin very quickly. It's almost 8:05, in fact.